there. That's what it was.
And strangely enough, she even wrote the Green Lantern episode, comic in Spanish.
So, was that a Green Lantern comic book?
Yes.
Okay, interesting.
It was Hurley's.
Because there was a lot of comic book writers on the show. Was like, because Brian K. Vaughan wrote the show, and Paul Dini, who was at this panel last year. Was anyone here at the panel last year? You missed out on Paul Dini, folks. It was very interesting. And one great thing about Paul Dini, he told us that, because he was a story, for anyone who doesn't know, he was a story editor for the first season and possibly a little bit more. So he was, really had a hand in everything. And if anyone remembers the episode The Mom, which was the one where Charlie throws his bag of Charlie into the fire, that was a Paul Dini written episode. But I asked him, because we have beefs with Kate. And I asked him, did you just design her so she could ruin everything and we had someone to save? And he says, well, the thing about Kate was that we designed her to be the person who always made the wrong decision. And it's interesting looking back at it, because she never listened to anything anybody ever asked her to do or told her to do. And it's when people kind of explain things, it makes a bit more sense. But at the same time, you shouldn't have to explain her to me. I should like her, or because she was pitched as a likable character. I really shouldn't keep talking about how much I hate Kate. It's get boring very fast. But we'll go back to our list. So
I hate Kate 1 year later.
Yeah. Get it tattooed on my arm.
Capable.
Okay.
Explain the tattoo.
Yeah, thank you for that. It was a good visual. Okay, so who really liked Ben Linus? Who was their favorite character? Okay.
That's actually smaller than I would have thought.
Yeah, no, I thought he was much more interesting than that. I also liked his ending. One of the few characters I thought who had any sort of redemption by the end of it too, which was nice to see. And yeah, okay, well, the one that's probably going to fill the room. Who here likes Sawyer, perchance? Oh, wow! No way!
Okay, what if we say...
Shirtless Sawyer?
Ford? James Ford?
James Ford. The James Ford changing his name to Sawyer thing. I don't think it made a lot of sense.
But by the time he at least took the name James and became like BFFs with Miles, I still think that probably one of the most
we have one hand up for Miles as your favorite character then.
But I do think that one of the most interesting storylines of the last season, and one that I would have watched as not even a Lost spin-off, just as a television show, was the Buddy Cop show.
Yes.
With Miles and Sawyer as just like action cops.
And Jim. Don't forget. Jim was great by the end of it too.
I just want to see Sawyer like slide across the hood of a car and the two of them jumping away, freeze framing from an explosion.
I'm convinced that's why Jim got Hawaii 5-0 as well, because it's like we can see you go around fighting crime.
So were there any other Mileses?
Well, I can understand that. I mean, he was only in it for a short period of time. Who else came in? Oh, Jeff, is it Fahey or Fahey?
Lapidus.
Lapidus got a big following.
You have to say it like that every time.
I do. There was how it should have ended did a big Lapidus thing, and it's always stuck with me. I can't hear it any other way.
With his face spinning towards the screen, like smiling at the end.
But who did we miss? Faraday. Faraday?
Mike.
Two. Mike.
Bernard and Rose.
Oh.
Whoa!
That's season 2.
You missed last year. The other guy was a drug user.
Hurley. Well, yeah. Who had Hurley as their favorite?
Oh yeah, I guess we forgot him. We just assumed.
It did kind of turn out to be his show.
Yeah. Who would like to see them go back to the island for at least a special or something like that and show Hurley's island?
Yeah, we have a vote up here for just letting it go.
That's the thing. Now, apparently, I haven't seen it yet, but apparently there is an extra on the DVD for the final season of a little bit, like 5 minutes or something like that, of after loss of what Hurley's been doing.
Is
it bad?
awful. Don't waste your time.
It explains like 2 or 3 things. That's it. It explains like the food drops and stuff like that.
Yeah, that was probably more things that they explained beforehand.
They bring Walt back to the island.
How tall was Walt when they brought him back? Because, yeah, was he about 7 foot coming in? Stoops underneath the door, like,
Where's my dad?
Yeah, my name's Walt. Let's get back to the island.
What do you mean my dad's a ghost on the island?
Walt was kind of a missed opportunity. I really kind of feel, and you can tell, they were really setting him up to do something special. Unfortunately, he hit puberty. And unlike most Nickelodeon actors, he didn't stay the same size. I don't know what Nickelodeon are doing in the water to keep all their kids who are like 25, like 4'1". But whatever they were doing, they should have given it to Walt.
Well, to repeat something in a conversation you and I had once, they hoped they cast Gary Coleman and ended up casting Shaquille O'Neal. And so what could they do?
Yeah, I mean, and it was a problem. Maybe it's slightly showed a lack of foresight, really. But they said the whole thing where he made a bird fly into the window because his mother wasn't paying attention to him. First of all, creepy as hell. But was hinting to, and then the fact that the others were trying to steal him first as someone who was special.
Yeah, after the first season, I was pretty convinced the show was going to be all about him.
Oh yeah, or at least end up with him doing something batshit insane.
Yeah.
But it was again a bit like Mr. Echo. Who was kind of a waste because the writers did go on record as saying that they had planned to have him be a big influence in the final episode and be a big character in the final episode. But he had a Matt LeBlanc Joey from Friends moment where he talked about how in the DVD, if anyone actually watches the DVD extras with him in it, he talks about how he tells the writers how to write his character and how he feels it should go and stuff like that. And they killed him off soon afterwards, which is not very surprising. But apparently he was rocking the boat a little bit with the cast and crew.
Oh wait, I just realized 2 characters we forgot about.
Okay.
Who liked Paulo and the other chick?
And the other chick.
I can't even remember her name.
Nikki.
Thank you.
Okay.
If it weren't for the whole paralyzed thing, I'd never even remember Paulo's name.
I like at the very least, if nothing else about that episode, I like that they tried to introduce them a couple of episodes before, but making them just come out of nowhere and go, "What are you gonna do, guys?" Well, thanks, random man.
Well, and I like the fact that the episode where they got rid of them, they at least had the guts to have a legitimately creepy ending.
Oh yeah, that's really sinister. I mean, that would give you nightmares. I'm already afraid of spiders in the first place. I don't need any more reasons to be frightened of them, but we got to be missing. There's so many characters on this show.
Someone pointed out Juliet.
Richard Alpert? Okay.
This certainly was not a character-driven drama. There's no way this was a character-driven drama. There's no characters in it.
Son of Jin, obviously. But did anyone get really, really annoyed by Son of Jin's ending that none of them seemed to mention the baby?
Yes.
It's like one of them could have escaped and looked after their child. Well, you were going to say something.
Maybe I missed it. What happened to Desmond? I know they pulled him back out the hole, but he was laying in the water and then showed him up.
I got the impression he got away. With Desmond.
I figured he's special, just escaped.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with Desmond, he seems a little bit invincible. He was kind of the super... Like, he got blown up, for Christ's sake. You know what I mean? He's fine. But that was one thing as well with the last season, because more so than getting answers, I was really afraid about them just screwing something up. And there were so many things on the line. Him and Penny... I cried like a little girl when he got to talk to her on the phone. I'm welling up now just thinking about it. It's ridiculous. But yeah, and their kid named Charlie. I mean, that's just beautiful. So there was nothing about his ending when he got off the island that I wanted them to screw up. And when they brought him back in, I was like, really? The guy hasn't suffered enough. And I was really worried that he wouldn't make it back to Penny. So I choose to believe, if nothing else, that he got back to her so I could sleep at night.
Because I don't remember exactly how it ended myself right now. Not that part.
Yeah.
But I choose to believe that Fiona Flanagan just showed up and went, "I killed my son, I'm saving you." Because she obviously had some sort of weird power too that was never really explained.
For those who couldn't hear?
Eloise, thank you.
Oh, Eloise. Yeah, I mean, she was fascinating. She's Irish. But yeah, no, she was a fascinating character. I kind of liked her. She was a little bit like kind of like a gatekeeper of some kind or something.
Yeah, I guess, but I still feel like they could have done more with her character, explained, more about what was going on with her. Because
if
outside of being really upset at everybody, anybody trying to get together, no, don't talk about that. No, don't talk about it. Don't talk about it. She never really did anything.
Well, I mean, she was kind of one of the few people who got the time travel thing. And that's probably including the writer. Because, alright, hands up if you thought the time travel thing was not needed. Okay, hands up if you thought it was really cool. Okay, 50-50.
Yeah.
That's fair enough.
That's fair.
I mean, it was interesting, but again, it was one of those things where when there was so much stuff they could have been dealing with. I mean, because it was like 18 different subplots going on in that show towards the end. So when there were so many things that you would have liked to have been hanging around with, to be flashing back and forward, while it was a great way of kind of filling us in on some of the backstory on the island, and I'm sure as things were wrapping up, they were like, oh god, we got to answer this, and we got to answer this, and, oh, how are we going to get through this? And rather than sit you down and just tell you, it was nice that they showed you, which was good. But at the same time, I could have watched one of those movies with, what was the name of the guy, the professor?
Miles' dad.
Miles' dad, yeah. I could have watched one of those explaining a little bit. I would have had more fun doing that.
Yeah.
Or Eloise, she was a perfect chance because she did understand most things about the island. There was very little that it seemed that she didn't have an answer for. That she could have been going through a lot of that with us.
She was even aware in the Flash Sideways. I mean, she was just somebody who had the ability to be aware constantly.
Now, are we calling it still Flash Sideways, or are we calling it Lost Limbo?
I never...
Alternate reality.
Alternate reality, okay.
Well, see, that's the thing. Do you think of it as an alternate reality, or do you think of it as this heavenly, afterlife? I mean, are you still seeing it in, time travel sort of terms, where, this is kind of... This Flash caused parallel universe.
Yeah, kind of, because when they, what I think happened was maybe that they did destroy the hatch and completely.
Okay, so you think their blowing up of the hatch worked?
Yes.
And it wasn't that they were all dead in this parallel universe.
Yeah. Grandfather paradox.
Grandfather paradox. Okay. Well,
because I think that part of how you accept the ending of the film or the ending of the show is it all comes down to whether or not you can accept the one thing that Christian Shepherd, who thought that name was going to be so allegorical, but you have to believe that the whole speech he says, where he's when he claims that everything on the island happened, everything that you experienced happened, and so and they did it in a way that it was. I think that's where John's starting to get mad now, but it. I know that, well, like you have said, and other people have said, that it was muddled and possibly too based in religion, but by the time, we've already stated the fact that the guy who was the religious character on the show, Locke,
the guy who had faith, was
the one who the show played as an idiot. And, but you have to, but in order to figure out, whether or not you want to believe that they all went off to Disneyland together at the end, or whether or not they all died in the nuclear explosion, is whether or not you want to believe what Christian says in that one scene.
I don't think I ever doubted what he said, and I personally am going with that idea that it was, let's all go to the lobby and have some heaven fun. I do kind of think that's what it was.
Look at John's face.
But it was kind of, I don't think it was as neatly wrapped up as they thought that made it.